welcome. We're here with Rise Against, and first of all, you've got a new album coming out, Ricochet. How would you describe the album in a few words?
Different than our previous albums.
That's good. That's few words.
Yeah, right?
Perfect, aced it. And what was the sort of creative spark behind making this album?
So the last thing we made was Nowhere Generation, which was like, we started that in a pre-COVID world, released it into a post-COVID world, as much as we are possibly post-COVID. But like, so that was a whole crazy blur of time, you know? And so when we finally toured that, it was like a very like triumphant, like come back to like all these venues, all these places, and especially places that we weren't sure was ever going to have live shows ever again, you know? So that was like a very like, I felt very triumphant every time we played a show somewhere. It was like, okay, we're back in London, we're back in Berlin, we're back in Chicago, we're back in New York City, whatever. And so sitting down to do another record, it was like, okay, what does this next chapter of Rise Against look like? And for me, it was like, whatever it looks like, it's got to feel different than what it's felt like before, you know? We can't just put another record out that just fits seamlessly into the previous 9 records, you know? And so I think that was the only pre-set idea I had going into it. Other than that, it was like, let's just do what we do.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And obviously there's a lot going on in the world right now. How much of that do you think sort of found its way into these songs?
I mean, all of it, you know. Rise Against, like, we're a band that's always going to sing about what's going on in the world. We always have. And so I think living in an increasingly unstable society with, like, you know, seismic shifts of power and the rise of the far right and the right wing and authoritarianism, and from Russia to Hungary to the United States of America happening, I think these are ideas that we're always going to sing about. I think watching, like, a far right world try to hijack the word revolution is something that like offends me, like as a guy who plays in a band called Rise Against, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, you can have a lot of things, but you can't have this word. Like, what you're doing is not a revolution. It's like it's throwing back, it's a regression, you know, it's going back to walking on all fours, you know?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
How did it feel to get in the studio this time around?
It was nice because, you know, it's always great for us to, you know, have a creative endeavor. You know, as an artist, you always want to push yourself. But this time around, we were with Catherine Marks, who had just come off of the success of the Boy Genius record, who earned a Grammy while we were making our record. Getting to experience her world and what she brought into our world, because, you know, we're pretty set in our ways and we've done things certain ways for so long, that it was just great to see what an outside voice could bring in. And I don't think we were prepared for all that was Catherine Marks, and what an impressive person and creator she is. And so, yeah, it was just, for that, it was just such a fulfilling experience all around.
So obviously you've worked with Catherine Marks and Alan Moulder on this record. Is there anything specific or any new things you learned from working with them that sort of stand out to you? Or?
Oh, wow. Catherine's, like, direction was far more like atmospheric and like live and energy than anything we've done before. You know, she brought that kind of energy to the record. She showed up every day. She was like really present and like really engaged in the song. And like, I never saw her like distracted from it. You know, when she showed up, she was fully focused on that. I think that work ethic was pretty inspiring. And I think coming from a world that was like different than our world, you know what I mean? 'Cause we're playing kind of like heavy, aggressive, you know, rock and punk and hardcore music. I think that was like not her wheelhouse, but I think that's kind of one of the reasons why we went with her, was because we didn't want to have anybody that had any of like the baggage that comes with Rise Against. We wanted someone to get fresh ears on it, you know? And so it was exciting to have her.
How are you feeling about the response so far? Obviously some of the singles have come out. How's it been?
It seems good. I think everyone, like, I don't spend my time reading comments or anything like that, but I think that everyone, like, it seems like to be getting that this is like a fresh sound for us, that it's something new and different, that it won't be confused with a song off of Nowhere Generation or Wolves or Black Market or Appeal to Reason or whatever. It's its own era of Rise Against, I think, that's what we wanted to do, is create something that was identifiable to this era of Rise Against. I think that in and of itself is the success.
The new music video you guys have
Yeah.
released is it's very strong with the art.
Mhm.
So what sort of, how do you see that direction forming more as the album comes out or alongside the album?
Yeah, I think the artwork for all this stuff has been very bold and like in your face, and the video is no exception to that. I think the video captures like some of the energy of like the song. You know what I mean? Like the song is like, it's this weight and it's this casting off of this weight, and like the character is this, it's like a Sisyphus character is kind of carrying this rock to the top of the hill, only to have to carry it over and over again, which is what so much of what life feels like. And so it really captured the vibe of the song. I think you'll see that continuing with like the artwork as we reveal more of the record.
And you've got quite a busy time ahead, I hear. Is there anything you're most looking forward to?
Ooh, these festivals coming up like Rock am Ring, Rock am Park, the Download Fest. It's going to be amazing. We can't wait to get muddy with all of our friends. We've got Warped Tour doing their own little reunion festival later this summer. Couple things in Canada, you know, which will be fun. Mostly we're excited about getting this record out to people and like having them enjoy the songs and playing these songs live and seeing what this next chapter of Rise Against looks like.
Looking back a bit, how do you guys think Rise Against has changed throughout the years? Now?
Gotten older.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, to Zach's point, I think we're figuring out how to like age gracefully into this band and like these songs and these stages and these records, and give our old songs the respect they deserve, give new fans the respect they deserve. How have we changed over these years? I think we've just gotten better at what we do, better at figuring out our strengths and our weaknesses, you know what I mean? But also just coming at everything with a little less like franticness, like this is gonna be over tomorrow, and more like settling in and just enjoying the moment and being appreciative of all the times we get to come to Europe and play shows, you know what I mean? Tour in the States with Papa Roach, like whatever it is that we're doing, you know, like that's like something that you don't take for granted.
It's odd that I feel like even like at this age, I feel like we're a little more willing to push ourselves, a little more willing to take a tour with Papa Roach, a little more willing to work with Cafe Marks, push ourselves creatively. So I find that that's really interesting when bands are usually just kind of, you know, self-actualized by this point. They're just going to keep doing the things that we're going to do. And I was impressed that we are, you know, it's a surprise to us.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh, we're going to do this. You know?
Yeah, risk-taking.
So that's where it gets interesting. You know?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And what sort of conversations do you guys hope that the new album Ricochet sort of brings?
I think that like, as the world gets so complex and complicated, especially politically, I like to think of Ricochet as a record that started trying to communicate that we're all connected. We're all in the room together. Be careful where you're aiming your gun. You know what I mean? Because anything could happen. You know, and that goes in positive, or in terms of positive energy too. Like your positive energy can ricochet around a room, around a world. You know, and so certainly as a band like us, as a very global band, like we play here in Europe as much as we play North America. You know, and so we get to see those connections in real time. You know, and so I think trying to emphasize how connected we are.
Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Yeah.
And the new album Ricochet is out in August, so everybody,